So can you tell us kind of what has happened since yesterday?
Sure. So Jeramie Colella was arrested yesterday. The charges were filed here in Superior Court, and he waived his arraignment today. So rather than have the charges formally read and enter a plea, he waived and entered a plea of not guilty, and the bail order was set, which is a no bail at this point.
Do you have any sense of the timeline? I know you were trying to put all that together last night. Do we have any better idea of what happened when?
So again, that's still part of the investigation that's ongoing, and we would say the same thing as I said yesterday, is anybody who has any information, may have heard or seen anything, to please call Dover Police. But that is part of the ongoing investigation still.
Can you tell us again what is being alleged here against him?
So the charges right now allege that he knowingly caused the death of his wife, Jeramie Colella, and that he knowingly caused the death of his father, Francis Colella.
How were they killed?
We're not releasing that information at this point. There's an autopsy scheduled tomorrow, and once the medical examiner makes a determination on cause and manner, we'll make an official press release on that.
How was it brought to your attention that there were 2 dead people inside this home?
So there was a call to the house. I won't get any more specific than that, but when police arrived at the house, I think it was to do a well-being check. They discovered the 2 bodies.
Do you know where in the house they located these bodies?
I'm not going to comment on that right now.
Would you know if they have a son? Sorry.
I'm going to leave the family out of this and refer you to, if you want to call her advocate. It's Joelle Donnelly. She can certainly be a go-between between family if you want.
Did the victim, Francis, did he live in that condo? Why was he there?
He did not live in the condo. I can't give any more information. So why is there? He is the father of Jeramie, and Jeramie owned and lived in the condo.
Was his van, that van from Georgia, parked out front?
I'm not going to comment on that.
And when police went to do that well-being check, was Jeramie there in the home at that time?
I'm not going to comment on that right now.
Some neighbors said they heard the night before what sounded like M80s going off at about 7, 8 o'clock the night before. Does that have anything to do with this?
I know that police have been speaking with neighbors, and certainly we're taking that into account as part of our timeline and part of determining everything that happened. As far as whether that specific statement was related to this, at this point I'm not ready to.
Is there a time that people should be aware of, that they should think about when they may have heard something that took place in there?
Yeah, so anything, really the time that we're looking for is between Sunday, probably around noontime, through Monday morning.
And again, when did police go out to the scene?
It was Monday morning. I don't have a specific time for you. It was Monday morning.
And just to clarify, the police were asked to do a well-being check.
That's my understanding. They were at the house to do a well-being check.
Any motive at this point that you know of?
So that's certainly something that is part of our investigation. Determining motive. It's early in the case right now, and it's not something I'm ready to comment on.
Do you know
How was the defendant actually arrested? Where was he? How did that take place? Can you elaborate on that at all?
So he was at the Dover police station. He was arrested. That's as much as I'll say on that.
And why second-degree murder right now?
So second-degree murder, there's a couple variants of it. One is reckless, and the other is knowing, and so he's charged with knowing. And so based on the facts that we have and the evidence that we have, which I understand we're not sharing that right now, but the evidence to us supports a charge that he knowingly caused the death of both of these individuals.
Why not first degree?
So first degree requires that he purposely caused it with some level of premeditation. Still very early in the investigation. As maybe you've seen in many other cases, these initial charges get filed, and then we do indictments down the road, and certainly those charges can be changed, but it's all going to depend on the investigation as it goes right now.
It could be upgraded.
Yeah.
Has he spoken to you? Has he given you any statements?
So I'm not going to comment on that.
Neighbors seem to think, too, they had a dog, a bull mastiff. Do you know, have you located the dog, or?
I believe a dog was located and is safe.
Okay. How about, do you know what Jeramie did for work?
I don't know what he did for work.
And had there been any trouble at that home prior with these people specifically?
I would refer you to Dover. They would have the sort of contacts for that house. I just not comfortable, speaking definitively on that.
When do you think we might have more information? Some of the things that, something we're looking for, maybe an affidavit being unsealed. When do you think?
So again, that's going to be up to the court. Right now, we've asked for the affidavit to be sealed pending sort of our early investigative steps. I know there certainly does come a point where the court is willing to unseal it. I'm not sure when that point is.
Be after an indictment, do you think?
It's certainly possible after indictment. I think that's generally where we like to keep them sealed through indictment to allow us to kind of keep building the case. I mean, we have seen courts unseal before then, but again, that would probably be a press motion as opposed to us affirmatively until after indictment.
I know Dover Police had said that there's no possibility of anybody else being in danger in the area. Do you think that anybody else was involved in this crime, or was it just Jeramie that acted alone?
So all I'll say right now is the same thing before, that we have no reason to believe that there is any danger to the public. We believe we have identified everybody who is involved, and that we know all of the players.
Do you know if there'd been any prior calls for service to that house?
So again, I would probably defer you to Dover. Dover will have better information as to the run sheets and the former, if there are any other prior contacts.
Does he have any kind of a record, Colella?
I'm not going to speak on that.
Okay.
And so at this point, the next steps are what?
So the next step will be indictment. I think we have 90 days to to present an indictment to the grand jury. He would be indicted, charged, and then we would start the process of setting deadlines.
And he's held without bail until then?
He's currently held without bail.
How long is that? When's his next date, do you know, for bail?
So he's held without bail pending trial,
Oh.
or pending indictment, and then after indictment, we would, the court would determine whether it's pending trial at that point. But
You
at
don't
least
need any
until-
other hearings or?
So there'll be, I don't expect anything else until after indictment.
You're not releasing any information about how they were killed or what weapon was used, if a weapon was used or
So we're
anything?
not releasing anything now. As I said, there is an autopsy tomorrow, which should provide a cause and manner of death. I do suspect that we'll have a press release at that point that provides the medical examiner's sort of medical opinion on the cause and manner of death. So we should have more information
Okay,
tomorrow.
great.
Were
Any
there
other family members besides these three, as far as like, I know that Jeramie's father was one of the victims. Is there a mother?
So again, I'll direct you to our victim advocate, who's Joelle Donnelly, and she can kind of give you more information. If the family feels comfortable sharing that, I don't want to sort of step into that.
Were they the only three people at that address when this happened?
My understanding is that, at the address? I'm not going to speak on that. As far as who lived there.
Or are there any eyewitnesses to this? Anybody else in that apartment or that unit when this murder took place?
So again, that's part of our investigation right now, is trying to identify anybody who was in the area, may have heard or seen something. I'm not going to specifically identify whether there are any, but we would ask anybody who has to please call Dover Police Department.
Can you tell us where there are obvious signs of trauma?
I think I'll wait until the medical examiner issues her report tomorrow before commenting on that.
Are any toxology reports scheduled? Are we gonna look for any evidence of blood and drug and alcohol use?
So what I can tell you is that as part of the autopsy, every autopsy they do a tox screen. As far as anything done on anybody else, I'm not going to comment on that right now.
Okay, so do we have any reason to believe that Jeramie was under the influence at the time?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Was he involved in a traffic stop early Monday morning?
I'm not going to comment on that right now. I would certainly direct you to Dover, who can give you any sort of contacts or run sheets that happen, but I'm not going to comment right now on that.